Welcome, honored guest.
Sup?
Hello, Meth, and hello, Pinball Party Patreon fans. This week on Deep Dive, we see if we can tour the mansion.
Oh yeah.
In a classic game that a lot of us know, and if you don't, just ask your dad about it. Addams Family. One of the most, quote, it's the game that got me into pinball, quote, games of all time. It's the one for me. We'll see if it's the one for Zach. And aside from Stern's Godzilla, the smash hit, this was the previous most popular game of all time. And hey, maybe it still is. It's Addams Family. So without further ado, let's get into that game. Knock 3 times. Right before I hit record, we were talking about you trolling a guy on Pinside about how he was rating certain games, Jaws, like evening out the score, and we were just discussing how like Addams Family is one of those games that so many people from the old guard will die on the hill of like it is a 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times, and all the new stuff needs to have mechs like Addams Family did. And we're going to discuss that and more today, but Jaws versus Ellie. Not prepping you for this. Pick one. Jaws versus Addams Family. Sorry, which one do you want?
Oh, like Jaws, like 100%. I mean, you could make that harder. Go way lower than Jaws.
Okay.
We can get to that later, but
okay. No, Addams Family versus Led Zeppelin Pro.
Wow, now you went too low.
Okay, Addams Family versus TMNT Premium. Because I know you like the Pro better.
I like the Pro better. I'm playing it, right? Like it's for me to play?
It's yours.
Okay, because like I would have an Addams Family laying around for other people to play, but like I'd play it Turtles Pro first.
Okay, well, before we get into your impressions, which seem to be incredible, Addams Family, tell me about it. Give me the facts on Addams Family.
I like how we started here, but it is a bally. It's from March of '92. Pat Lawler coming off, just monster successes, right? With Funhouse, Whirlwind, Earthshaker. Those were Williams games, and I think this is after Williams acquired Bally, and so I think they wanted Pat Lawler to do Addams Family as part of the Bally line for some reason. I'm not quite sure, but it's I think the other really relevant developer on the game. Game design also includes, John Usey on art, but I think the real relevant here one is Chris Granner, and he's incredible. I mean, Chris Granner is the sound designer for all the classics. He did Terminator 2, Addams Family, Whitewater, Twilight Zone, Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings. I did a couple stinkers there, but I think that was a money thing.
But he
did NASCAR.
Okay, well, he always did a great thing of like making the music of the movie or the license into like the limited resources of this era and like give it a twist in a way to make it fit to where when I hear the Addams Family theme song in the pinball machine, I'm like, this is just as great, if not better, than hearing it. Or maybe not the same for Lord of the Rings, but he had a history of just good shit. Tough one. Is the TLDR.
Chris Granner, I can't say enough about him in particular. He's amazing. I love Pat Lawler. I think Pat Lawler is a phenomenal stop and go designer. I think he has enough hits. His games speak for themselves.
Like Toy Story 4.
Chris Granner, it is what it is. I mean, I think Toy Story, well, we'll get into that later. But Chris Granner specifically, I think he's amazing. There was an interview with him on, it must have been Head to Head, like 7 or 8 years ago, talking about these first licensed IP games, where he talks about going and getting callouts done by Arnold Schwarzenegger on Terminator 2 and going and doing Addams Family callouts with Raul Julia and how difficult Angelica Houston was. That is just, I love those guys that have those industry stories. He knows what he's talking about. And it was just a different era. I would go find that podcast. It must have been 7 or 8 years ago. It was just really great.
Is that Jeff Teolis?
No, it's Marty and the other guy. This is pre-Teolis.
While you look that up, there is technically 2 trims of Addams Family. There's the regular that 99.9% of the people probably played on location. And then the special collector's edition, also known as the Gold Edition. Well, that's enough for you freeloaders. To enjoy the rest of this episode and more deep dives, join the Pinball Party Patreon. There's a link in the show notes below, or go to patreon.com/pinballparty.